Hello and welcome. So, if you're used to the clean, structured world of databases, you know that most of the world's information is the complete opposite. It's just messy, unstructured text. Today, we're going to dive into the technology that's completely changing that game: large language models, or LLMs. We'll meet the key players, see what they can do, and find out how they turn all that chaos into actionable data. All right, let's jump right in. So, here's our game plan. First, we'll get a quick introduction to the LLM family tree. Then, we're going to open up their toolkit and see exactly what jobs they're built for. After that, we'll see where these models are being used out in the wild across different industries. And finally, we'll connect all the dots on why this is such a huge shift in how we work with information.
All right, first up, let's meet the family. It's a crowded space with a ton of acronyms flying around. So we're going to cut through the noise and introduce the biggest names you really need to know.
This really is the big question, isn't it? We hear names like GPT, BERT, and Gemini all the time, but what actually makes them different from one another? What's the core idea behind each one? Let's break it all down. Let's start with probably the most famous one, GPT-3 from OpenAI. The key is right there in the name, G for generative. Its absolute superpower is creating new content that sounds like it was written by a person. It does this by learning patterns from a massive amount of text, and then, it just predicts what the next word should be over and over again. So in practice, what does that mean? It means GPT-3 is an engine for creation. It's the brains behind tools that can write marketing copy, draft your emails, and power those chatbots that can actually hold a pretty decent conversation. Think of it as a creative partner. It's all about generation. Next up, we've got BERT from Google. And again, its secret is in the name. The B stands for bidirectional. You see, while older models read text just like we do, from left to right, BERT reads the entire sentence all at once, forwards and backwards. This gives it a much, much deeper understanding of context and all the subtle nuances in language.
So BERT's bidirectional power comes from this really clever training method. It's basically a massive fill-in-the-blanks quiz. This makes it an absolute master of understanding text, not just generating it. And that's exactly why it's the go-to model for analysis tasks, like figuring out the sentiment of a product review or finding a specific answer buried deep inside a long document. It's fantastic at pulling meaning out of existing text.
Now, the innovation obviously didn't stop with BERT. You had models like RoBERTa from Meta, which basically took BERT's training method and made it even more powerful. Others, like XLNet, came up with different ways to learn context from all angles. And then Llama 2, also from Meta, pushed things even further with a more efficient attention mechanism. This lets it intelligently focus on the most important parts of a really long piece of text. It's all part of this constant evolution of the core technology. Then you get models built for just ultimate flexibility. Take Google's T5, which treated every single task as a text-to-text problem, making it a super versatile jack of all trades. And that brings us to the next evolution, Google's Gemini. The real game-changing word here is multimodal. It was built from the ground up to understand and combine information from completely different formats. We're talking text, code, audio, and images, all at once. And this whole multimodality thing, it's a massive leap forward. It means Gemini can look at a picture and write a caption for it, understand a spoken command, or even analyze a chart in a financial report and give you a summary in plain English. It's a huge step towards an AI that can perceive the world a little more like we do. I've mentioned the transformer architecture a few times, and this slide really shows why it was such a game changer. Older models, like RNNs, process text word by word. They'd often forget the beginning of a long sentence by the time they reach the end. Transformers, on the other hand, use something called a self-attention mechanism. This lets them look at all the words at the same time and weigh their importance. It makes them faster, easier to scale, and way, way better at understanding long-range context. This is the engine that powers this entire revolution. Okay, so we've met some of the key players and the amazing tech that powers them. Now, let's look under the hood and see what their toolbox actually contains. What specific jobs can these models be trained to do? So yeah, beyond the fancy names and high-level descriptions, what are the specific trainable tasks that make these models so incredibly valuable in the real world?
And wow, that toolkit is incredibly versatile. It includes things like sentiment analysis to figure out the emotion in customer feedback. There's named entity recognition, or NER, which is like an automatic highlighter that finds all the people, places, and products in a document. They can do text summarization to boil down long articles into a few bullet points, or even generate computer code from a simple English description. Every one of these is a skill that helps us put some structure on all that messy, unstructured language.
This brings us to where the rubber really meets the road. We've seen the models and their tools. Now, let's go find them out in the wild, solving actual problems for actual businesses.
I mean, that is a really powerful toolkit for sure. But where is this technology actually being put to work to create value today? The short answer is, well, pretty much everywhere. In healthcare, they're helping researchers sift through millions of medical papers to find new insights. In finance, they're analyzing news and social media to help predict market trends. Legal teams are using them to find that one critical clause in a 500-page contract in just a few seconds. And you've almost definitely interacted with one in e-commerce, whether it's powering the product recommendations or that customer service chatbot. Okay, we've seen what they are and what they do. For our last section, let's just pull back and ask the most important question of all. Why does this all matter so much right here, right now? You know, this quote really gets to the absolute heart of it. For decades, human language, with all its messy rules, slang, and context, was this huge wall that computers just couldn't climb. LLMs are the technology that finally started to break down that barrier, and at a massive scale. And here it is. This is the key takeaway, especially if you live in that clean, predictable world of rows and columns. It's estimated that something like 80% of the world's data is unstructured text. LLMs are the bridge that connects that messy world of emails, reports, and conversations to the structured world of actionable insights. They are essentially the ETL for human language. And that leaves us with a pretty exciting question for the future, doesn't it? We've seen what's possible today, but as these models get smarter and more integrated into all the tools we use every single day, what incredible new capabilities are waiting for us just around the corner? I really hope this quick tour through the world of LLMs was valuable. If you enjoyed it and you want more deep dives just like this one, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching.